Now I'm about to bring on a brother here that's with Alabama Tourism Department, and he knows about what's going over all over the state. He's a native of Huntsville, received his degree in business administration and marketing, hospitality and tourism from Auburn University in Montgomery. And he's worked with the tourism department now with the state of Alabama for 5 years. I'm going to bring on at this moment Graham Roderick. And Graham, hello. Thank you for being so patient with us.
Oh yeah, no problem, Bishop.
I think we had a very interesting program here, but now you pull it all together and tell these folk that are in Alabama, I guess they got something good that's going on in Alabama because you deal with Alabama tourism, and I guess you bring them in from all over the world for stuff that's going on here. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. So yeah, they gave me a gracious title when I got to Alabama Tourism. I am the International Sales Manager. Rolls off the tongue kind of nice. But yes, my main goal is to try to get people from outside the state of Alabama to come spend the night in the state of Alabama. We are funded by lodgings tax. But I'm not here to talk about all of that. I know the theme for tonight is summer activities, and for a lot of people here, you probably know a little bit about some of the local activities. I'm going to help you kind of, we'll go through and talk about some of the other stuff that you can see throughout our great state, and maybe some things that you might not have known about Alabama. I will be honest, when I first started with Alabama Tourism, even being born and raised in the state of Alabama, there are a lot of things that I did not know about. For example, starting in North Alabama, up in and around Huntsville, there's a town called Scottsboro that's just north of Lake Guntersville. And so for any kind of thrift shoppers out there looking for some quirky place, there's a place called Unclaimed Baggage. And this is actually the place where lost luggage ends up. I hope no one here has ever had to deal with the unfortunate circumstance of losing your luggage from a flight, but you can, rest easy knowing that if you do, you can just drive a short little while to Scottsboro, Alabama, and go look for your lost bag. It's a pretty cool place, very quirky, kind of interesting. They've got everything from a suit of armor. You'd be really surprised to see what people try to bring on an airplane. Yes, that's right. You heard me. A suit of armor. But the main stuff, the good stuff is, iPads, iMac computers, phones. I actually got a all black Michael Kors. I mean, it's a real heavy watch for, I think it was $40.
So wait a minute. What goes on up there? And if you turn that volume down.
Sorry.
So what goes on? People can go there and they can purchase stuff that's been unclaimed baggage in Scotts?
Yes, that's right. Any luggage that's lost on a plane ends up in Scottsboro, Alabama, believe it or not. It's pretty wild.
Gee.
And again, just a short drive to the west there is Huntsville, one of the fastest growing cities in America. And for those that have students that are into science, math, engineering, technologies, arts, for the creative, U.S. Space and Rocket Center, I'm sure most people here have heard of it. But if you haven't been there, it really truly is a great experience, especially for kids. I know, being born and raised in Huntsville, we used to go there at least once a summer. And between, having all the different interactive exhibits and different simulators where you can, land a shuttle or land a spacecraft on the surface of Mars in a simulator, or, land the space shuttle on the runway in, Cape Kennedy. It's pretty incredible. And they also got some cool rides. They got one of those rides where they, shoot you up straight up in the air, which is supposed to simulate a rocket taking off. And they also got one of the ones, I'm not a huge fan of it. I used to be as a kid, but as I've gotten older, I get a little more wheezy. They got the one that spins you around really fast, which is simulating G-force on your body. So U.S. Space and Rocket Center is definitely a great place that you can spend a few hours in, let your kids run around and let out some energy.
Mm-hmm.
And for those that, really want to learn to train to be an astronaut, because, maybe y'all seen in the news, Virgin Galactic's Richard Branson was the
Yeah.
first civilian to actually make it to the last layer of atmosphere. And they are actually developing the rocket that will take man to Mars.
I think, what is it,
So,
$25,000 a trip? I think it is to get on that thing with Branson.
I think I thought it was. I think it's 25,000 or 250,000.
Oh, it
It's.
might be
I'm,
250,000 because
yeah. It depends on where you put the decimal, but I mean, it's definitely. It's not to the point where, I'll be honest, people like myself would be able to afford anything like that.
Well, it's like the cost of a house. I mean, it'll go
Cost of a
into
pretty
space.
nice house where I live. But yeah, I mean, it is the future. And
Yes.
your kids right now are going to be the generation that are, stepping foot on Mars. And,
Hmm.
US Space and Rocket Center is the only place in the entire world that you can actually train as a young kid to be an astronaut. So that's pretty cool.
Hey, let me ask you
Um,
something, Graham. Did we lose the Space Force in Huntsville?
No, actually, Huntsville they are still going to get the Space Force headquarters. There's actually, so for those that know, a quick history lesson, NASA actually began in Huntsville. Dr.
Yes.
Werner von Braun came over from
Hmm.
Germany after World War II and was recruited by the US Army to beat Russia to the moon. That was his main goal. And he settled in Huntsville, Alabama, of all places. He said Florida was too hot and Texas was too flat. For those that have never been to Germany, Germany is actually very woodland and forested, and it's got rolling hills very similar to the northern part of Alabama, which is at the base of the Appalachian Mountains. And so, long story short, the U.S. Army sold him a bunch of land because that's where the Redstone Arsenal kept a bunch of ammunitions and such. And decades later, he developed the Saturn V rocket and developed the F1 engine, which is the largest engine man has ever created, which
Hmm.
landed man on the moon. Um, so that's just a long story to say that if you have any children that are interested in learning about science, technology, it's more than just space. They have a robotics camp. They have aviation challenge where you can learn to be a fighter pilot. They have cybersecurity now. Learn how to program and code, which is there's going to be a huge growth in jobs within the next couple of decades. But moving on from Huntsville, I wanted to mention I heard Will talk about how music kind of transcends kind of race and time and that sort of thing, and I want to echo kind of what he was talking about for those that really love music, and this might be for more of the adults in the crowd, but you can definitely take your kids along. I'll give you something for your kids to do while you go check out the recording studios in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. So
Hmm.
there's two recording studios that were famous in the 60s and 70s. Fame Recording Studios and Muscle Shoals Sound Studio. There's going to be Jennifer Hudson is going to be portraying Aretha Franklin in a biopic, and that's going to be debuting in Alabama this or next month in August, or no, excuse me, at the end of this month, and then we'll be premiering worldwide next month. But Aretha Franklin became the Queen of Soul after she recorded in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, and with Muscle Shoals musicians. And it's pretty wild. So I don't know. There's a documentary called it's the Muscle Shoals documentary, which was actually funded by Jimmy Iovine and Dr. Dre. when Dr. Dre and Beat Select, they donated $1 million to the Muscle Shoals Music Foundation to renovate that studio because of the history that was there. I mean, we're talking hits, Wilson Pickett, Etta James, Aretha Franklin, Boz Scaggs, Paul Simon, Clarence Carter, Percy Sledge. I mean, huge names out of the 60s and 70s and huge hits, which is pretty wild because in the 60s, that was in the heart of the modern civil rights movement, in the heart of Jim Crow South. And like Will said, didn't matter if you were black, white, yellow, green, red, blue, orange. And if you could play music, you're welcome here. So it's pretty incredible. And that's, part of the story that's told in Muscle Shoals, not just incredible music that's recorded in this tiny little town in the middle of the northwest corner of Alabama. Just, you would never expect to hear such great music come out of such a small place on a map. It's pretty incredible. But for the kids, while you're in the Shoals and Florence and these small towns, if you go to the University of North Alabama, they actually have the lion exhibit there. And that was the first school I attended when I graduated high school. And if you're lucky enough to actually hear the male lion roar, you'll definitely remember it. It's pretty wild. You can hear it for miles.
So what are they? It's like a safari type thing?
No, it's actually just it's a large habitat on the campus of North Alabama, like right in the middle across from the cafeteria hall, because they are the North Alabama Lions, and that's their mascot. And they have a nice habitat, which, kids love. You can go get your picture taken there. And it's free. So you just walk right on campus.
They got a lion.
They got a male and a female lion. It's pretty wild. And it's really cool. So what you want to do, if tell your kid, get in a fetal position and turn your back to the glass, and that female lion will start to slowly kind of approach the glass and then lunge at you, because you're in a fetal position. You're in a, I don't know what the word is, but
vulnerable.
Yes, that's the perfect word.
If the lion turn your back on the lion,
position, so they're gonna lunge at you for a quick, easy meal. It's pretty wild.
Okay. University of North Alabama. Okay.
That's right.
Bring me.
And I completely forgot. Oh, sorry.
No, what were you about to say?
I was gonna say another. In between Florence and the northwest corner in Huntsville, there's also a brand new museum, the Cook Museum of Science, and that's talking about entomology, insects and bugs and that sort of thing. Brand new, state-of-the-art exhibits, immersive experiences. Just a quick, I think about an hour and a half drive, probably 2-hour drive from Birmingham. The Decatur is right off the interstate there.
Well, Graham, can you tell me, since of course we got people from all over that are listening in, but right here in Birmingham or close by Birmingham, I noticed that on the website you got a few eating places, and everybody likes to go get something good to eat. Can you recommend part of Alabama tourists? I mean, that might get you in trouble, but are there some?
Oh, yeah, playing fair. Yeah, it's tough. You got to walk a fine line, but choosing between, favorite restaurants in the state. I mean, in Birmingham, that their tagline, they are the dinner table of the South.
I tell you what, on your website, you got some 100 dishes to eat in Alabama.
Yeah, and there's a mobile app too. It's funny, anytime we get to travel in and around the state of Alabama, we try to check one of the restaurants off. It's a little misleading. It says 100 dishes. There's more like 220 something restaurants and dishes on there. It was hard to narrow it down to just 100. 100 just, it just sounds better.
Sounds good, yeah. So
But yeah,
I tell you what, this is Alabama.travel. So people
that's
can go there. We might want to tell them how to use this website to find out activity. Is this the place
oh
for if they're looking to know what's going on in their area?
yes, absolutely. So Bishop, you're right. If you want any Alabama.travel is our consumer website. So if you want any kind of information on different places to go, different events happening in local areas, there is an event calendar in there, as you'll see at the top of the nav bar at the top.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it's got a pretty decent search engine. Just, you could type in there Cook Museum of Natural Science, or, space and rocket, or, beaches, or anything in there, and it'll pop up. But yeah, I'll be honest, I use that website all the time, sitting at my desk when, people are asking me for information about different places, and this, that, and the other. I'll use Alabama.travel. You can
Okay.
actually build a road trip too.
So this would be where we would tell them to go to get some ideas of where to go here in Alabama, because that's what your major thing is, getting people to tour
Yeah.
the state. So I guess of all things, of the many activities that we have here in Alabama,
Yeah, I mean, there's
Alabama.travel. Hmm. Go ahead.
yeah, there's I mean, I'm sorry I keep interrupting you, but
Oh no,
there's too many to list right there. I mean, yeah, Bishop's right. If you want information, if you think, you're gonna go see a relative in another part of the state on the way there, you want to know what's on the way there, Alabama.travel would be your best bet to uh, see what's off the side of the road, because that's another thing about Alabama. You got quirky different stops. You got the world's largest was it like lawn chair or something? You've got a recreation of Stonehenge down. I mean, if you're going to the beach, the Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, on your way down to the beach, there's actually a place you can stop off of. It's probably about 10, 15 minutes off the interstate, but it's a recreation of Stonehenge in England, but it's in South Alabama.
Hmm.
Who would have known such a thing?
Who would have thought about something like that? That's one of the more interesting things to do. Stonehenge in Alabama. Of course, now
I
we
know,
have and
right?
the mounds in Moundville, Alabama. Um,
Mounds in Moundville. There's some in Florence up near the music studios too.
yeah.
But the significant ones are right there in Tuscaloosa, right south of Tuscaloosa and Moundville. Um, Also, if you and I can't be on here and not mention. If you haven't been to the EJI Memorial in Montgomery, it's an outdoor memorial. Now, I will admit, it talks about a history, a part of U.S. history and Alabama history, that's tough. Especially as being a white person, not from that era, it's heavy. And when I walk through there, I mean, I get my hand hair on my arm stands on end. I mean, but it's an incredible memorial. It's beautifully organized and created, and the museum itself is absolutely, it's incredible. I'm one
You
of those
said
nerds that goes to a museum and reads every single word on every plaque, on every exhibit. And so, yeah,
what is that now?
EJI in Montgomery. It's Equal Justice Initiative. It
Okay.
was actually started by Brian Stevenson. There was a movie about him. He was portrayed by Michael B. Jordan, and it had Jamie Foxx. And it
Hmm.
was actually, he's a lawyer, and it was his first, I think it was his first case, where a man who was on death row for murder, which he obviously didn't commit, was acquitted.
Hmm.
It's pretty incredible.
Um,
And then also, for those that don't know, um, Mardi Gras actually originated in Alabama. So when you get off this video tonight, and you're at the water cooler at work tomorrow, you can tell people you learn that Mardi Gras actually originated in Mobile, Alabama, and not New Orleans, Louisiana.
okay. So
And they've got a cool Mardi Gras park down there that you can check out.
my
But yeah,
son-in-law is from Mobile, and I know that from finding out it was there too. As we talked about jazz and music, Alabama has a lot to go for it. That's there. And I was just pulling up the EJIs, what you're talking about here.
Yep.
I think that you say it's difficult for you when you talk about those things, but I will say this: I don't want these things removed. I want folk to remember what was done and that it was glorified at a certain time. Because if we don't remember what our past is, even if it's offensive to the younger people today, we've got to recognize that what this nation did, it shouldn't be forgotten. And if we remove these symbols of the racism that was there, because we say it's offensive, they were put up by people that thought it should be glorified and it should be remembered. We need to
I can't remember what the old saying is: if you try to get rid of the past, you're gonna make the same mistakes. There was something, I can't remember, there was somebody, it was a very profound statement, and just echoing what you were saying, Bishop, is, if you remove these things and people forget about them, then they're bound to make the same mistakes.
If you've lost an understanding of what the past is, you're doomed to make the same mistakes of the past.
Right.
And I do see that. I think it's very conniving that we do have people who say remove it, but if you remove it, then people can then say it never happened. I think this nation needs to remember the tragedies and the injustices that were done, not erase them, but recognize it was there and recognize we continue to do it again. And that's me, as from reading the Bible, all the good and bad is there. But that's not what we're talking about. We got a question here.
Yeah.
One said, I saw someone recently post about a strawberry farm somewhere in Alabama where you can go and pick strawberries. Do you know of that place?
Yeah, so that is in Maggie Valley Berry Patch. I just Googled it. It's sweetgrownalabama.org would be a great place, because we're actually going to partner with them. Myself and our art director will be doing a kind of a highlight reel for one of their conferences coming up.
Sweetgrownalabama.com.
Sweetgrown, our favorite Alabama you pick strawberry farms. And the first one listed is in Grant, Alabama, which is North Alabama. Maggie Valley Berry Patch. Oh, well, you can just share. Here, let me share the post and I'll put it in there in the chat.
Do that.
There's also a guy who does, now, not that anybody needs to, this is mainly for our international people, because I'll be honest with you, international food isn't nearly as our, the food from Alabama and the South. When I say the South has the best food in the world, I really do mean that.
I think so. I love it.
It's pretty wild. But there's a guy down in South Alabama who has a biscuit workshop, and he uses his mom's or his grandma's recipe and makes homemade biscuits. So that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, you know what, Graham? I think we're going to have to get you back so we can talk some more about what's going on in Alabama, especially when the winter months come around here, so folks can know what they can do in the winter. But this is great. Once again, we've got it scrolling across the bottom, Alabama.travel, to see what's close by so that they can go. And this actually looks good right here. Go pick.
Those blackberries look good.
I'm telling you, all that looks good right there about something. And just go, that's a good thing to do. Just go pick crops. Oh, yeah. All right.
Just in time for dinner.
You know what? And I haven't had dinner yet, so I know what's going wrong with me right now. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking about it. I already asked you what good places to eat, so that's what. And then seeing that one that comes up here from time to time, it gets it on my mind. So, Graham, and if they want to get more information, go there, and if they want to get in touch with you, do they talk to you, or are you just one of the
you can. So I'll see if I can put it in the.
I'm
gonna put it in the private chat. You can, if you have any kind of questions, you can email me. You can call our toll-free number. I'm pretty sure it's listed at the bottom. You will speak with a very nice woman named Charlene, and we should have brought her on here because she's the one that answers the phone and
Mhm.
has to answer all the silly questions that come in about this, that, and the other. We might have to bring her on next time because she knows everything there is to know because she's customer support. She's the first face, first voice you hear when you
Okay.
talk to Alabama tourism.
Okay. Well, then so people can actually call and get this information there. So this is now this is where they can reach you at
Yep,
your website, right? Your email address.
that's my direct. Yep, that's my email address.
So if
If you have
somebody,
any questions, holler at me.
if you're planning a family reunion and try to do something like that, want to use Alabama, you've got Graham right there that you can get in touch with him. And do you all help people if they want to talk about, I'd like to get my family reunion, I'd like to go places, and you kind of,
Yes, so I will give you one of my coworkers, Rosemary Judkins. She is our group travel director.
mm-hmm,
And I'm pretty sure now, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm like 95% sure there is, because that is one of our bigger markets, is like family reunions in large groups
mm-hmm.
coming to certain cities. And I want to say she has some sort of form or something that if you're bringing in a family reunion, she can help, get you a permit or whatever it is to have it at a certain location. I know here in Montgomery, the Montgomery Riverfront is a popular destination for family reunions and groups. The Shakespeare Festival as well. But yes, her name's Rosemary Judkins, and yeah, you can reach out to her.
Okay, that can help with that. All right. Well, I tell you what, I'm glad to have you with us, Graham. And
Oh, thank you
like
so
I said, we
much.
have to get you back. We went a little long on this program today, but it's one that I think is very informative to give people a lot of information from flipping to playing music and then just hanging out at the various sites that are here in Alabama. So,
Absolutely.
Graham, thank you once again, and
Hey, thank
thank
you,
you for your
Bishop. Thank you,
time.
guys.
And I'm gonna be in touch with you because, like I said, we got a lot
Yeah,
we got to talk about with the Alabama Jazz Hall of Fame. Uh,
absolutely.
and so we'll be talking to you soon. God bless you, and to everyone, we're getting ready to depart here right now. I appreciate all your time and everything we've done. I want you to see my little friend, right here enjoying the sun, and I thought you might like to see that. That's kind of my personal touch for it. Just enjoying the fun, and some of the best gymnastics are cats that that gymnastics uh, they can really do stuff, and they always manage to wind up on their feet. And so, if you really want to do that, they can do it. So remember this: you are created to excel and not fail. That is your divine potential. God bless you all.